All right, and we're back. It is spooky season, and it's your boy here from Medallion Comics, Peter G, and I'm joined once again by the ever faithful Ian Miller from Triple Threat Comics on this week's episode of the Nova Files podcast.
Hey everyone, Peter, always a pleasure to see you.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Always a pleasure. And depending on when you're hearing this, we just got a bunch of some pretty big news announcements in the world of geekdom, and definitely some things that caught me off guard, or some new things I learned, and so we got a lot to talk about today.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think the biggest thing that's worth talking about right now is, did you see the announcement for Deadpool 3?
Yes, I did. For those of you who had not seen it, and I'm surprised you guys haven't seen it, Ryan Reynolds had actually posted a video on his Twitter account talking about Deadpool 3. He wasn't quite sure what he was going to do with the sequel, and then all of a sudden, we see somebody working in the background, you know, as, and pretty much say, hey, here, you want to be in the movie? He's like, yep, whatever. And if for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I am talking about, of course, Hugh Jackman, the Wolverine.
So it's finally happening. Hugh and Ryan are going to be getting together. Of course, the ever faithful Canadian actor Ryan Reynolds playing the Canadian Deadpool, and the ever faithful Australian actor playing the Canadian Wolverine. The only thing I can hope for is Celine Dion making a cameo in the movie.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, I'm not even joking. Like, that's a legit possibility. Remember, she did the From Ashes music video tie-in for Deadpool 2.
That is true. I hope to God that she doesn't sing My Heart Will Go On. I really hope that doesn't happen. Oh God, I gave Ryan Reynolds an idea now. Oh God.
I think my favorite line that ever came out of that is like, Celine, that was amazing. That was the best performance I've ever seen. You have to do it again. It's too good. This is Deadpool 2, not Titanic. You need to phone it in like 5.5 max. Listen, this only goes to an 11.
Oh God. Yeah. So as many of us fans were completely floored that Ryan had dropped this bombshell, what happened the very next day on his Twitter account was actually Hugh Jackman talking about the project a bit more in detail.
Which was just another complete trolling of us.
Yes, but we did find out something interesting, though.
What's that?
Deadpool 3 actually takes place years before 2017's Logan film.
Yeah, well, Logan was set in the future anyways, but
yeah,
we're in the MCU. This is literally like any timeline they want. This doesn't have to necessarily be the Logan timeline.
Exactly.
I'm just hoping, like, this is my hope of what happens at the end of this movie is the actress who played X-23 shows up and she's all grown up and they're like, wait, what the hell? You're not even supposed to be born. And somebody literally says, different timeline, Wade, deal with it. Actually, you know what I think would be the best plot for this movie? I've been joking about this with my friends. The entire plot of the movie is Wolverine wants to go see a hockey game. And then Deadpool just keeps kidnapping him for random hijinks and shenanigans. All Wolverine wants to do is drink beer and watch hockey. That's all he wants. And Deadpool just keeps ruining his day.
I could totally see that. I really could totally see that.
Yeah. I remember that was like one of a plot for one of the comics. I remember they did Wolverine and Kitty Pryde. So it was like the early years of the X. It was set in the early years of the X-Men, where they were back at the mansion. Kitty was still like kind of like Wolverine's teenage protege or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like all Wolverine's trying to do is like drink beer and watch hockey, and the kids just keep getting into random mutant shit, and it just completely ruins his entire night. And it's like It's my God-given right as a Canadian to drink beer and watch hockey. And that's Canadian myself. I fully embrace that mentality.
Well, I hope we actually get to see something like that in the story. But I gotta tell you, with the poster that we saw, obviously the iconic Deadpool poster with the three marks across it, I'm sensing there could be a confrontation, maybe.
It's comic book superhero team-ups. There's always a confrontation.
Yeah, but this could be the fact that say, Wade, you're completely messing up my day. I was about to watch the hockey game and drink a 6-pack. All right, and the fact that you involved me in this crap, it just I want to kill you, Wade. I really want to kill you.
No, it wouldn't surprise me. Or there's one thing that no one seems to be talking about that entire trailer. Ryan Reynolds is wearing the X-Force Deadpool outfit.
Yes.
And what's a popular team where both Deadpool and Wolverine are on? X-Force. Yeah. So I could totally see them doing something like X-Force. And I would love it if Peter shows up again from the last movie.
That was just so random. He was so random, just a nice guy. And I'm like, Wade, you really, considering using this guy? Seriously?
Yeah, it was funny. And of course, because Wade fucked up the timelines, Peter's alive at the end of it.
Yeah.
Go home, Papa Bear. But of course, the topping on the cake would be if it turns out he's now dating Domino.
It seemed they did have some chemistry, didn't they?
It's like, can you give Domino my email address? Like, it just sounds like the dumbest thing possible, but also sounds like kind of in character for Domino because like she has all those luck powers.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what? Nothing bad's happening in this situation, so why the fuck not? I know it's silly, but it's just like stupid comedy like that, and the movie just makes me laugh. And obviously, we need more of Colossus because he's just great in those movies, especially when you got the full CG Colossus. It works.
It did. It totally did because I'm like, this is the Colossus that I grew up with from either reading the comics or watching the animated series.
Yeah, and you can play the big burly Russian guy who's always metal, and you can play him as a cartoon character because he's a CG character. It's great.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm really curious to see what they're gonna do with this movie. It looks like obviously the Deadpool movies they're always fun. They're not like cinematic masterpieces or anything, but like Ryan Reynolds does a really good job at the character. He gets the comedy, he gets the fourth wall in this, and I just feel there's so much more fun they can poke at in this one because now they're officially part of the MCU.
Oh, they can do so much, so much.
Yeah, like they can literally, the plot of the movie can literally just be them jumping between multiverses. And do you remember that rumor that went around where there was supposed to be an after credit scene for Doctor Strange 2, where Deadpool, Cable, and like Domino show up after Scarlet Witch has killed the Illuminati, and they're just like making fun of them. It's like smartest man on the world right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I would love it if they just have like Deadpool traveling between different realities and just being in the background of some of these iconic Marvel scenes. It's like just like shooting jokes or just like trying to get out of them.
It would have been great, if Deadpool came at like after the big battle with Thanos and Endgame going, okay, I'm here. Well, wait a second, what just happened? Son of a bitch, you mean I'm late? God.
Yeah, basically. That would be a great like thing to do in the after credits for like Deadpool 3, just like him like there's a whole new multiverse to explore.
That is a very dangerous thing for Deadpool. Very dangerous.
Oh, but come on, we would love it. Plus now we have like She-Hulk, who's also breaking the fourth wall as a character, so that'd be a funny interaction if they ever do something.
Yes, that is true. That is true.
Speaking of which, have you actually watched any of She-Hulk?
I actually have, and I have to say, I love the performance of the lead actress. I've loved, a lot all the performances, but she is by far very. She did her homework very well with this character. She did her homework very well.
Yeah, I find like the show's getting way more hate than it deserves.
Yeah, and it shouldn't because yeah, it's different, and it should be different.
Yeah, it's a comedy show. It's not meant to be an action series. Uh, I think everyone just like loses their shit about the whole like, oh, I have it infinitely worse than you. It's like, one, Jen, you don't know what Bruce went through, and you whatever. And she's also going to be learning, like, she's going to be realizing maybe she's not always right about these things. There's different levels to these things. There's entire different worlds for the people in the hero community.
Yes, and again, continuing on your point, yeah, Bruce has pretty much done and seen it all.
Yeah.
He's experienced, forming these friendships. He's experienced significant losses.
He attempted suicide.
Yeah, he was at his lowest point. So yeah, Jen, you really need to take a back seat here because you need to really think about what your cousin had tried to say to you.
Yeah. It's I think like depending on how they play that, they could be playing it where she's ignorant or not understanding his side of it, or it could be trying too hard to get a message across. Probably that scene was probably not played the best. But quite frankly, I do find the show funny. It could be fun at times. Like I like seeing the more down to earth, mundane side of the MCU.
Hmm.
Like that one episode where like a woman's being sued because she's a shape shifting elf and she's pretending to be celebrities.
Yeah.
And like, you know what? That's a thing in the MCU. There was another one where they were suing a magic user from a flunky from Camartage because he's accidentally opening up portals to the demon realm. Uh, this week's episode, I don't know if you saw it.
I did not see this week's episode.
I won't spoil anything, but basically, Jenza ends up accidentally at a group therapy session for like really weird super people.
Oh God. Oh man.
And I'm like, you know what? They're actually like that the joke is the abomination after he left prison, he started his retreat and all that, like his meditation spot. He's also opened like a self-help group for people with powers. Which
Well, yeah,
yeah, looking at it, it's hilarious, but like in this world, that would make sense. That's a thing.
yeah. A lot of people have a lot of issues with their abilities.
Mm-hmm. And I do like seeing the mundane side of it. So, like, depending on how you look at, and oh my God, I remember that one episode where she started dating.
Oh God.
Okay. As a person in my 30s who's been on dating apps, that felt way too close to home.
Oh, it did. Yeah, she got some doozies, didn't she?
Yeah. Because, we're seeing it from the woman's point of view, but I'm telling you, it's the exact same thing from the other side of the aisle. Okay. I've run into women who represent those guys. I've heard women talk about those guys. It's like, Jesus Christ, this is hitting way too close to home. It's hilarious, but it's also making me cry at the same time.
It's scary. It's scary how on the nose they got that. It was scary.
Oh yeah, because quite frankly, whoever wrote that scene is somebody who's been dating in their 30s.
Oh yes, and has used apps, dating apps.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh.
The bane of my existence. Man, no, overall, it's a good show. Like I am enjoying it. You have to know what it is. It's if you're watching the show because you want to watch another Moon Knight, you want to watch another Captain America and the Winter Soldier, you want to watch another Loki, you're not getting that. It's a comedy
No,
show.
no.
Yeah, those shows are basically like 6-hour long movies.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, they just announced that Armor Wars, instead of being a miniseries, is going to be a movie now.
Yeah, I was completely floored by that. I was like, well, I thought, with a 6 episode, series, that would have made sense, to stretch the story out. With a movie, you're gonna condense some of that story. So you have to wonder what are they gonna take out.
It could also be maybe they found like they had a very good core premise, but they overstretched it out and didn't make it as good. Like I think a good example of that would be Kenobi.
Yeah.
Like there, sometime after the series ended, somebody released a 2.5 hour cut of the whole series. I watched that and it cuts out a lot of fluff. It cuts out a lot of stuff, but it keeps the core message of the series. And it's honestly like, aside from places where you can tell there's awkward cuts, it works.
Okay.
Yeah. Like there are fan cuts of that where it's like condensed to a 2 hour movie. And I don't know, have you watched Kenobi?
Yes, I have watched it, and I will agree there are a few episodes in the middle where like, really, did you need to stretch this out? You could have not done this episode.
Yeah, exactly. And I think originally Kenobi was written to be a movie, but they stretched it out into a mini series.
Yeah, I think it should have been a movie. If we're being honest, I think it should have been a movie.
Yeah, but that's it. It's more of a question of like, oh, they probably didn't want to repeat Rogue One, not Rogue
Mm,
One, Solo. So they
yeah,
tested it out as a mini series. But that's the weird part about it with the mini series. If you don't have enough good core content, and you're just gonna have to fill it with a bunch of fluff. A good example would be like, does the movie work as a 3 act structure? So you take something that's a 3 act structure and you separate it across 6 2 hour long episodes,
yeah.
it just doesn't work. Like I think a really good example of that would be something like Dune. Do you see the new Dune movie?
I did not. How was that?
Visually, it's spectacular. Story wise, it put me to sleep and left me unsatisfied.
Uh,
The reason why is because it's Dune Part One, so it's the
uh,
first book. So
oh, Dune. I'm sorry. I thought you said Doom. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Dune. Okay, you saw Dune,
Yeah, I did say it. Yeah, I
so,
I agree with you. I agree with you.
and quite frankly, like I'm a proponent thinking that all of Dune would have been better off, maybe slightly smaller budget, and turn it into a mini series.
It's funny because in the year 2000 there actually was a mini series
Yeah,
on Sci-Fi.
yeah, probably because Dune being a novel format would translate better to a seasonal show compared to a 2.5 hour long Snorefest.
Yeah,
Because it's one of those things like, okay, spoilers, obviously. How does the Dune movie end? The middle part is like, oh, the complex is under attack, they've been betrayed. And watching it, this would be a climax of a movie, this alone. Or this would
yeah.
be a very quick scene at the beginning to establish what's going on. But it's so near the end of the movie, you're not going to get any resolution to anything. And you
Sad
go,
but true.
yeah. And then you go through this big epic scene to have like much smaller fights and escapes at the end of it. It goes, But if it was a seasonal show, that would make sense. You have high points and low points, and then you have season finales. So it would, as a structure, that entire movie would work better as a series.
I
Whereas,
agree.
yeah, so I think like the counterpoint you have with maybe they realize that about Armor Wars. Maybe they're like looking at the scripts like, okay, look, this is good. We have a good 3 act structure. We have a good core content here, but all the fluff that we're adding in is just like it's not good.
Yeah.
Take everything we shot, make a 2.5 hour cut, do a few reshoots. We're gonna put it out as a movie.
Well, I think in that sense it is a smarter move to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious to see where Rhodey goes from there, because as you know, the actor's contract ends at this particular particular storyline.
Yeah, because I think they're also wanting to introduce Riri Williams into this,
Yeah.
and it all depends how they introduce her. Because I never liked her introduction in the comics.
Yeah, I would say that. I do believe that she's gonna be part of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's true. She is. See, that makes sense because if she's like using Wakandan tech to build her stuff, compared to a girl who built a full-on Iron Man suit with like scrap in her garage.
Yeah, I think it would make more sense definitely to go with Wakanda tech and build a better, iron suit.
Yeah, or like something comparable to what Tony Stark was using. But yeah, it makes more
Yeah,
sense. Like if
yeah,
she's somebody in the Wakandan outreach program, maybe like she stole a bunch of parts and like just because I know like Riri Williams is one of those characters who's like not to say this in any negative way, but she has a level of autism where she's not the most social person and doesn't pick up on certain cues. So like in her mind, like going up there and just taking that stuff would make sense to her. She doesn't feel like she's doing anything wrong. Uh,
mm,
I know it sounds like a very negative thing to say, but I think a good if you compare her origin story in the comics in how she like interacts
yeah.
with people in her family, I find she's a lot more similar to a character like Sheldon Cooper from Big Bang Theory.
I was actually gonna make that comparison because I recently watched Big Bang Theory, and I was like, "Yep, I can see the signs."
Yeah, it's like there are people who have not the best social skills but are incredibly brilliant. And because of
Yeah,
that, they might not pick up on certain social cues and be like, oh well, all this technology is here. I'm very intelligent, so I should be allowed to use it. The kind of people who are like two steps away from becoming supervillains.
yes.
But it all depends. And okay, while we're on that topic, let's talk about Wakanda Forever and all the stuff we're seeing from the Atlanteans now.
Yes,
So have you seen all the new designs for them?
I have. It's quite something. Definitely huge departures, obviously, from the comics counterparts, but still, I would say I'm willing to embrace it.
Yeah. From what I can tell, I think they just wanted to really differentiate themselves from like DC.
Yeah,
That DC's playing them as Atlanteans, like based on the Greek mythology of Atlantis and all that. So
yeah.
in this case, they're basing them more on like what's the word I'm looking for? Like South American style. Like they almost look
I
Aztec.
yeah, I can kind of see that, especially by you know uh Namor's design.
Yeah, it has a more like Aztec-like design, so that's interesting. Um, Not saying good or bad about it. The only thing I gotta say is like make sure he has his little wings on his feet because it's very iconic to the character. And like
Yeah, I think we need to see that just to say, okay, this is who he is. Yeah.
it all depends on how they play Namor because Namor has always been like a very like big Chad energy kind of guy.
Mm.
Like he's the kind of guy who will look at your wife and say like, "I'm gonna have your wife," and say it to your face, and probably wouldn't mind if you watched. Like that's the kind of guy Namor is.
Yes. I'm thinking of Sue Storm in particular.
Yep, he likes blondes. What can we say?
Oh yes.
And
But I'm very excited about the movie that's coming out in November. Very excited about that.
yeah, that's true. We haven't gotten that many new trailers for it, but it is going to be an interesting ride. It's going to be an interesting watch. And I still gotta finish watching Ms. Marvel. I've not gotten around to that one yet.
Well, I haven't watched it yet, so I will say I do know about that secret ending. That the that last end credits clip. I know what happens. I know what happens because somebody spoiled it.
Yeah, obviously. I think it was like there's they're theorizing she might be a mutant or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, they really changed the whole character up. Like instead of having her stretchy powers, she now has like energy blasts. Yeah.
not sure if I like it.
Yeah, because the thing is, Ms. Marvel also had shape-shifting powers, but then I think they kind of forgot about them. But then like her whole thing was her embiggen ability,
Mm.
which like that was kind of her catchphrase, but because you changed her powers, you can't really do that. Maybe they do. I don't know. I need to actually watch the show. Oh yeah, but Marvel, despite everything they do, they're putting out all kinds of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think they just put out something new Star Wars related. What was it there? Andor?
Yes.
That is completely under my radar. Are you watching it?
I haven't had the chance to watch it, but I'm hearing mixed things about it.
I just like have no interest in it whatsoever. Like it's about the people from Rogue One before Rogue One.
Yeah, I've said this in countless times in my other channel, either in Turbo Threat Comics YouTube channel or Media Talk with Milton Smith. I said this: we need to start focusing more Star Wars content during the events of Empire Strikes Back. I'm sick and tired of seeing stuff do either before A New Hope or even after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, it's just okay. It's the time of the war. Like that's why where the Mandalorian is set is perfect. It's following episode 6. It's building up to the new stuff. There's always rumors saying they might take the last 3 movies out of continuity, or who knows what's going on with the whole veil of the Force. But
Uh,
apparently, the whole thing that happened with the whole Palpatine shit, apparently that was over the course of a week.
what?
I remember hearing something like that. Like everything that happened with the new trilogy was over the course of a few weeks.
I don't see that. I don't even feel that when I watched the trilogy. I didn't feel that at all.
Yeah. What was the army called? The second something or
Uh, I don't know. I know originally it was the First Order, but
yeah, the First Order. There you go. Yeah,
yeah,
apparently everything with the First Order, like the whole like thing that happened with them, their invasion, their launch on the galaxy. Apparently, that is not a very long period of time in the Star Wars content and continuity. It's like maybe over the course of a year.
uh,
Because even if you think about it, like not a lot of stuff happens during that time. Because with the old movies, they had years of time to build up the empire, and the empire was in place for many, many years. The First Order literally came out of fucking nowhere and were basically taken out just as fast.
eh, well, of course, I'm pretty sure this was the Emperor's thought. At first, you don't succeed. Try again, but fail horribly, horribly, horribly.